Since the conflict between Iran, Israel, and the United States escalated, discussions of the end times have dominated the conversation. Most of the time we analyze this through the final days described in Islamic eschatology, focusing on Imam Mahdi and the Dajjal. But viewing the Middle East exclusively through the single lens overlooks an ancient theological framework. Before we look at the modern geopolitical map, we have to listen to this. That is the sound of the shofar. It's an ancient instrument carved from a ram's horn. For 3,000 years, Jewish communities have used this auditory signal to mark profound religious moments, specifically the arrival of their Messiah. To understand how that ancient belief connects to modern war, we have to consult a specific set of texts. We have to look past the daily news cycle and examine the Torah, the Talmud, and the writings of medieval scholars like Maimonides. For millennia, these documents have detailed prophecies regarding the future of Jerusalem. Specifically, they describe an impending catastrophic conflict known as the War of Gog and Magog. Right now, millions of people are evaluating if the current military escalation involving Iran is the event described in those ancient pages. Understanding the current stakes in the Middle East requires a study of this 3,000-year-old blueprint. To see how this blueprint works, we have to go back to 586 BCE. The Babylonian Empire, ruled by Nebuchadnezzar II, laid siege to Jerusalem and destroyed the first temple. Thousands of Jews were taken as prisoners to Babylon. According to Jewish tradition, one of those captives was a prophet named Ezekiel. While in captivity, Ezekiel recorded a vision. Chapter 38 of his book outlines a scenario, a massive multi-nation military coalition that will one day encircle and attack an isolated Israel. This map shows how the ancient names from that text translate to modern borders. The prophecy explicitly names Persia, which we know today as the modern state of Iran. Ezekiel also mentions Gog, sometimes interpreted as Rosh, alongside a nation called Togarma. Modern interpreters widely link these regions to present-day Russia and Turkey. The prophecy continues, listing Cush and Put. Geographically, these translate to modern-day Sudan, Ethiopia, and Libya. Looking at the highlighted borders, this forms a geographic ring surrounding Israel. The text states that Israel will suffer an initial attack from this exact coalition. After that, the prophecy claims a divine intervention will occur, destroying the invading armies and paving the way for the Messiah. What makes this specific 3,000-year-old text significant today is its alignment with the military and political alliances currently appearing in global news headlines. This text survived the Roman destruction of the Second Temple in 70 CE, an event that scattered the Jewish population across the globe in a massive diaspora. In the 1830s, a British theologian named John Nelson Darby introduced dispensationalism. This is a framework suggesting that the Jewish people must physically return to their ancestral land before Jesus can return. This timeline crossed the Atlantic and spread across the United States. In 1909, Cyrus Scofield published the Scofield Reference Bible, embedding these ideas into the footnotes read by millions of American Christians. When the modern state of Israel was established in 1948, those millions of believers viewed it as a literal fulfillment of prophecy, the necessary first step on Darby's theological timeline. That theology eventually found a political voice. In 2006, Pastor John Haiti founded Christians United for Israel, which mobilized political backing in the United States for the Israeli state, based on these specific biblical interpretations. This theological history helps explain the persistent political backing for specific policies in the region today. While global powers focus on international borders, the catalysts for this prophecy are entirely physical, and they are located strictly inside Jerusalem. Before the end-time sequence can trigger, the prophecy states a third temple must be constructed. Organizations like the Temple Institute are preparing the artifacts required for this temple's operations. They have already fabricated the priestly garments, a sacrificial altar, and this solid golden menorah. According to Numbers chapter 19 of the Torah, temple purification rituals require a perfectly red cow without a single blemish. Several of these red heifers were imported and are currently secured in Israel. To millions of believers, these physical objects represent active steps toward a prophesied global war. All of these physical preparations target one precise geographic coordinate. The third temple can only be built on the site known as the Temple Mount. This specific site is currently occupied by the Al-Aqsa Mosque, one of the most sacred locations in Islam. Any attempt to alter this space carries profound geopolitical risks, and here the timelines cross. Islamic eschatology also points to this exact region. It predicts a massive final conflict near Jerusalem, culminating in the return of Jesus and the defeat of the Dajjal. Jerusalem is the unavoidable epicenter where multiple global end times narratives physically, ideologically, and militarily collide. Prophecies serve a specific purpose. They are meant to inform believers about the future, but they are not intended to induce a state of paralysis. The late Islamic scholar Israr Ahmed explicitly warned against fatalism. He emphasized that believers must fulfill their responsibilities and remain committed to their principles, rather than sitting idle waiting for prophecies to unfold. A poetic warning directed at the Western world regarding this region suggests that what appears to be profit may actually be a loss of honor. The poem concludes with a reminder of the region's history, noting that the one who came out of the desert to overturn the Roman Empire may awaken again. The ancient texts are open, and the physical stage in Jerusalem is set, but the ultimate test remains human agency and how we choose to act while the clock ticks down.